All right, Stacey, you ready to roll?
I'm ready to roll.
All right, here we go. Ready, hit it.
That's awesome, man.
Now, you're watching Gearz, brought to you by LMC Truck. Restore, maintain, customize.
You know, a few years ago, a movie came out called The Bucket List. And the point behind the movie was to encourage people to get out there and live before they died. Now, the reason that this is important is that we all grow up with dreams and aspirations. But if we're not careful, those can be shoved aside and destroyed by everyday life. Well, the gearhead world is similar because there's some things that everybody would like to do, like own an exotic car like a Pantera, or a Ferrari, or a Lamborghini. Another good example is to be an astronaut, or to be a race car driver, or a Blue Angels jet pilot. But those are just crazy kid dreams, right? I mean, an average person can't be a Blue Angel, can they? Well, you might be surprised, but the only way that you're really gonna answer that question is to find out about them. Check them out, see what makes them tick. And since that is what this show is all about, strap in and hold on because we are going flying. The story of the Blue Angels precision flying team starts way back in 1946 at the end of World War II. The Blue Angels were conceived as a recruitment tool to show the world what the Navy and Marine pilots were capable of. And this was important since the dangers that these pilots faced landing and taking off of a rolling aircraft carrier deck were well documented. With the formation of the new Air Force, the Navy knew it had to do something to keep young pilots coming their way. So it made sense to showcase the incredible control that a Navy pilot has to have over their aircraft by creating a flying team that flew so close together you could literally walk across the wings. One of the earliest airplanes the Blue Angels flew was the massive F-8F Bearcat, and only a few were lucky enough to fly it.
They started what they called the Navy Flight Demonstration Team in the spring of 1946. I was fortunate enough to be selected as one of the pilots. And we were hoping we'd get into the Bearcats. And we got orders to go up to Grumman and Bethpage, Long Island, to get 4 new F-8F aircraft. In anticipation of getting into that brand new little hot rod, what it was, we were all eager to get in that airplane. I'm 90 years old. There's no way I'm going to fly that airplane. But in my mind, I could fly that airplane, and it would thrill me to death to get it off the ground. You know, it's a long time ago.
Fortunately, as time marched on, so did the Blue Angels, moving on to more sophisticated jet aircraft as it became available. Over time, the notoriety and reputation of the group continued to grow, and before long, the Blue Angels were a household name and a symbol that stood for excellence everywhere. But even as their popularity grew over the years, the Blue Angels never forgot who they represented. The hard-working, real-life, nuts and bolts heroes that serve in the Navy and the Marine Corps day in and day out, because that's where they came from. And when their 2-year stint with the Blue Angels is up, that's what they'll go back to. That's how it's always been, that's how it'll always be. Matter of fact, the only real difference between the Blue Angels back then and the Blue Angels today is that now they're flying the incredible F-18 Hornet, and they've become about as iconic to America as the Statue of Liberty or Mount Rushmore. But there is one thing about the Blue Angels a lot of people don't understand. They're gearheads. They're hot rodders of the sky. You can tell by the way they talk.
Power. And a little more power.
And that is how they relate to you. So the question is, what does it take to put those jets in the air and make them perform that way? Well, you're about to find out, because we're going to take you into the heart of the Blue Angels and show you what makes them tick. Hey, welcome back to Gearz and our look at the legendary precision flying team, the Blue Angels. Now, we've already shown you how they got started back in 1946. But what about today? Well, to see what they're up to now, we made a trip out to El Centro, California, where the Blue Angels are put through the paces almost every day to learn the skills and to hone their flying ability to be able to do what they do.
Rolling out. Dino's clear. That's clear. Climb still factor. Off. It's clear. Dino's clear.
It is an amazing experience. There are 130 personnel in the Blue Angels from the Navy Marine Corps, and we represent the 540,000 sailors and Marines that serve our country. It is a huge, humbling honor to be a part of the team.
As with any team, the pilots fly through their grueling show routine over and over and over again, all under the watchful eyes of the ground crew, as they brutally critique every move that these pilots make. And in spite of how good it may look from the ground, it's never good enough for these guys.
We never think that we're the best out there. The moment that you think you're the best thing to ever hit the sky is going to probably be the worst day of your life. There's always something to learn to get better.
Just like fixing a vehicle and adjusting the timing on it, it sounds good to my wife or someone who's not attuned to listening to an engine. But for a guy that works on a vehicle, he says that's just not quite right, and I want to make it better. Well, that's what we do with every single performance, and every day we work on these airplanes. We strive for perfection, and know that we'll never reach it.
Each pilot has three main attributes:
Ready, hit it.
thousands of hours of flying, an impeccable record, and a drive to push themselves to be the best they can be. And there's no hotshot Tom Cruise attitudes here, because remember, these are all combat pilots, plain and simple, and they understand the meaning of teamwork.
The most important part about the Blue Angels team is the team and the mission, which is promoting the Navy and Marine Corps.
If we hold ourselves to a much higher standard for the small stuff, we tend not to let the bigger stuff drop out. And typically I think, don't screw up, don't screw up, don't screw up.
Now obviously, these Blue Jets don't just service and maintain themselves, and the crew that makes it happen is every bit as impressive as the pilots. They not only maintain and service the aircraft, but they also run through a complete rehearsal of the program every day to make sure everything runs with the polish and the precision that the Blue Angels have become so famous for.
The planes we fly here are the oldest in the Navy, and they're still very reliable. A lot of that is given to the hard work of our maintainers. Those guys are top notch, and they know exactly what to do. They're like a NASCAR pit crew. If something goes wrong, it gets gets fixed.
How special is the crest?
It is a huge honor, especially for my maintainers. They earn that crest.
Now, as you may have guessed, there is a tremendous amount of equipment and supplies that have to go with the Blue Angels when they go out on tour. But instead of taking a typical tour bus, well, the Blue Angels have Fat Albert. Check it out. Fat Albert is a highly modified C-130 that not only carries the equipment, but thanks to some added rockets, it also does some pretty wild stunts itself. Didn't I tell you these guys were a bunch of hot rodders?
And believe it or not, the actual paint job helps performance as well. There's less drag on the jet that we have because of our paint job.
Of course, having Blue Angels on the sides just makes it faster, doesn't it?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, faster than those Thunderbirds, right?
exactly.
Now, at this point, you're probably thinking, wow, what must it be like to fly in those jets at those speeds that close together? Well, I can assure you, you really have no idea what's going on in those jets. But you are about to find out, because we are going to take you on a ride with the Blue Angels. When the opportunity came to fly with the Blue Angels, I wasn't really sure what to expect, but I knew it was going to be unlike anything I'd ever done before. And the briefing that I got before the flight drove that point home even more.
There is a chance you will get sick. There's air sickness bags in the jet. Usually after someone passes out or when you land, all that adrenaline starts pumping, and that's when most people get sick. So there's a chance. I'm not going to tell you there's not. I got sick my first flight, so it happens.
One of the biggest surprises was that the Blue Angels don't wear G-suits when they're flying to keep from passing out. Now, since we're going to be pulling about 7.5 Gs, and most people pass out at 3, they teach you a special maneuver to keep from going to sleep. It ain't pretty, but it gets the job done.
So the whole sequence is going to say, Stacey, you want to do this maneuver? You're going to say, sure. He's going to say, squeeze those legs, take a deep breath, ready, hit it. And you see how red my face got? That's that blood forcing up in your head to keep you conscious.
At this point, it was time to get in the jet, and Lieutenant C.J. Simonson took a few minutes to make sure that I was up to speed on what we were about to do. I couldn't help thinking that I'd just been strapped into the wildest roller coaster in existence, except there was no track, and this ride was going to last an hour.
All right, Stacey, you ready to roll? I'm ready to roll. 60 knots, 80 knots, 100 knots, 120.
Once our wheels cleared the tarmac, things really got rolling as Lieutenant Simonson hit the afterburners and pulled the F-18 straight vertical.
Ready, hit it.
Inside the cockpit, I swear it felt like we had just been shot to the moon.
That's awesome, man.
Incredible.
Wow, you ever get tired of this? Never.
After that, we began to fly the exact routine that the Blue Angels fly at air shows. And between the world revolving around you,
And push forward on the stick as we feel 0G. Round out the backside again, we'll feel about 2.5 Gs.
and being tossed around in your restraints,
These restraints were tight.
it's hard to believe that these guys can fly these jets this close and not end up swapping some paint. To show off the jet, Lieutenant Simonson demonstrated the slow fly capabilities of the Hornet.
Anytime we're in a dogfight with a dissimilar aircraft, we will try and force the fight into a slow-speed fight because our aircraft has dominance in the slow-speed arena.
And then dropped it down on the deck and took a supersonic.
We're coming up on 600, Mach 0.95, there's 630, there's Mach 1, 700 miles per hour.
We did flips. We did rolls. We flew inverted. We even made imaginary bombing runs on imaginary enemies down below. And right in the middle of all this, Lieutenant Simonson kicked us into a hard turn and had us pulling 7.4 Gs. It felt like I had a '56 Buick on my back. Now keep in mind the pilot is feeling the same thing and still flying the plane holding a 40-pound stick. What an incredible ride, and what an incredible honor to be able to do this. Now, hopefully, this gives you some insight on what an amazing organization the Blue Angels are. And if you've ever dreamed about being part of something like this, well, the only thing that's stopping you is you, because they'd love to have you. And if you do it, you'll end up with a great education and you'll get the chance to mess around with millions of dollars worth of cool equipment and get paid for it. Yeah. And right in the middle of all of this, you're going to find you get the chance to do things that other people only dream of doing.
Now, quick tip. Brought to you by E3 Spark Plugs. Born to burn.
There's no doubt that we all like a slick-looking ride, and we will spend a lot of time waxing it up, making it look good. But no matter how careful you are, there's no way to keep the wax from getting down into the nooks and crannies and leaving kind of a hazy, gooey mess. Now, we've heard the tip about using a toothbrush to get all that out of there, and that's great for small areas like these emblems. But what about bigger areas like around bumpers and grills? I mean, that'd be a little tedious to do that. There's a better way. What you do is take a standard paintbrush and cut off the bristles to where they're about 3/4 of an inch long. So what you have is a perfect detailing brush that's firm enough to get all the residue out, it's big enough to do big areas, and it's still soft enough to not damage your paint. If you want to learn more tips that can help you out, check out the tips page on the website.
Partspin, brought to you by Cherry Bomb. Disturbing the peace since 1968.
If there's one thing that gearheads like, it's engines. We spend a lot of time and money making them look good and making them run good. But there is one area on an engine that's almost always overlooked and can be a real source of frustration, and that is in the vacuum lines and hoses. Because they get hard and brittle over time, making them almost impossible to disconnect. They'll crack on you, giving you vacuum leaks, and of course they look bad. Well, fortunately, a company named Oomph Labs decided to do something about this, came out with a product called Hose Candy. Check it out. Hose Candy allows you to build your hoses with quick disconnects to take all the hassle out of messing with vacuum hoses. Now, the kits come with every kind of fitting and adapter and connector that you can imagine. And they've also got these cool anodized aluminum ends in different colors to finish off your hoses and give you a great look. So you have the option now of running your hoses in whatever configuration that you want. Here's how it works. This row of fittings here have a standard hose barb on one side, and they have a special barb on the other that snaps permanently into the anodized collar. This row of fittings also have a standard hose barb on one side, but they have a twist lock on the other side, which allows you to connect to the first fitting with a simple half turn. This gives you a solid, leak-proof seal that comes apart in seconds. There is no end to what you can do with something like this. So what you've got here is the convenience of a quick disconnect, the performance of a positive seal, and the visual punch of cool lines and hoses. You got hose candy, and the only place to get it is hosecandy.com. You know, a few years ago, Duplicolor came out with a product called Paint Shop. And the whole idea here was to supply the enthusiast with a quality lacquer paint so they could paint their vehicle themselves and not spend a fortune doing it. Well, the Paint Shop series has gotten so popular that Duplicolor has been swamped with requests for different colors. So that's exactly what they did. Check it out. First up is a dark emerald green metallic, which is very close to a British racing green, or the same color Steve McQueen had on his Mustang and Bullet. Then they have a midnight blue, which looks good on anything. Nice GM color. Then you've got sublime green pearl, which is right for you Mopar guys. So if you want to paint your vehicle and you're looking for classic muscle car colors that are easy to put on and affordable, you don't have to look any further than Duplicolor's Paint Shop. Everybody knows that if you're going to work with metal, you have got to have the right tools to make it happen. And nothing works metal like an iron worker from Edwards Manufacturing. Now this is a 40-ton unit. It's perfect for a small shop because it gives you enough power to cut flat stock, punch holes, cut angle iron, and even notch tubing. But the really big news here is in the 10-ton tubing bender that you can get to go with it. Check it out. The bender is easy to load or unload, and it'll operate in either a horizontal or a vertical position. The unique design in the 10-ton ram allows you to easily make bends up to 180 degrees in tubing. Different dies are available up to 2.5 inches, and the whole thing is easily portable with a rolling stand so you can move it anywhere. Yeah, look at that. Now, of course, you can get this tubing bender with its own power source, but the really slick deal is the quick disconnect that allows you to pull the power from the iron worker. That, of course, cuts the cost of the tubing bender in half. So if you do a lot of heavy metal fabrication, working with tubing, building chassis, or you've got limited space in your shop, Edwards Manufacturing has got the tools that you need to have.
What are you working on? Brought to you by Miller Electric, the leading manufacturer of arc welding and cutting equipment for your business or home shop.
Today's What Are You Working On comes from EJ and Amy Fitzgerald from Madison, Wisconsin, and their project is a 1947 Dodge four-door sedan. Take a look at this thing. Now, that's exactly what it still looks like, because these guys just started this project, and that's what's so cool about this. Now, they said that they were looking for a 50s era car, and this thing came up, it's only 3 hours from their house, $600. Look at this thing again. Now, they thought that at $600, this thing was going to be a rust bucket, but you can tell, man, this thing is in great shape. They said that the trim was all intact and clean, the interior was in horrible shape, and here's the proof of that, but at least it was all there. It said that they had a trunk full of extra trim parts, original Dodge hubcaps. They really lucked out on this thing. Now, what they're going to do is pull it back and do a complete restoration on it, along with some customizing stuff. And EJ is going to paint it, and they're going to make this thing a complete family affair, as you can see from this picture. The really cool thing here is it shows that you don't have to have a finished vehicle for us to feature it here on the show. We want to see what you're working on, whether you're done with it, whether you've just started it, or whether you're right in the middle of the project. So send that stuff in. Now, to help out the Fitzgeralds, we're going to give them a Miller welding jacket, which will not only protect EJ when he's welding, but it's great to throw on when you need to crawl underneath the car. Now, for the rest of you guys, if you want to get in on some of this stuff, send in your project to staceydavid.com. We'll see if we can get it on the air so we can feature you too. Also, if you would like to see more interviews and footage of our incredible experience with the Blue Angels, go to the Blue Angels blog on the website and check it out.